Hello again, Year 2. Welcome back. This is Lesson 2 of Week 3. So, we're looking at Mary and Florence as leaders. So, we're going to have a quick recap. Talk to your teddy or talk to an adult. Have a good think about what we've discussed in the last lesson when we were talking about Mary Seacole's British Hotel. A really good think. What did we say was the same or slightly similar as Florence's Scutari Hospital? And what do we think was definitely very different? Or any other information that you can remember? Pause the video, have that discussion, and then replay the video and see whether you got any of them right. So, we discovered that she was actually a lot closer to the action than Florence Nightingale. If you think about it, she was 2 hours walk from the main fight, whereas Florence Nightingale was a whole boat ride away from the main fighting area. So Mary Seacole was putting herself in a lot more danger, but she needed to do it so that she could save those that were in need. She ran more of a hotel whilst providing a bit of a hospital-like experience. It wasn't a hospital like Florence Nightingale's. That one was a lot more equipped. It had better equipment and resources, but Mary Seacole was doing just as good by providing more of a stop-off place for soldiers to go. They could get warm, they could have some food, and they could also just feel like they could have somewhere to rest. She also paid for it all herself, along with some of the loans from her friends. The other one, the Scutari Hospital, was paid for by the British government. However, this one was all paid for by Mary Seacole herself, because she thought, if they're not going to have me there, I need to do it myself. And she also went to the front lines to provide medical care. She walked all the way to those front lines where the men were fighting to make sure that there was nobody left behind. No one was left there that couldn't get to a hospital. So what were some of the differences between the hospitals? When comparing the two, we need to make sure that we're being fair, as well as we need to remember that we're not comparing the two women, because both of these women saved hundreds, even thousands of lives by helping and providing care during the war. So we're not comparing the two, because they both did an amazing job. But what we are comparing is how they both had differences in the war because of how they were set up. So, let's have a think. The Scutari Hospital and the British Hotel. So the Scutari was a very safe distance away from the fighting, which meant that Florence and the nurses were safe away from battle. The British Hotel was actually quite close to the war zone. The soldiers in the hotel were safe, but it was only a 2-hour walk from battle. The Scutari Hospital, however, those British troops that were wounded from fighting on the Crimean Peninsula, which is just the edge of the land, needed to be shipped across the Black Sea to medical stations in Turkey. So Turkey was where the Scutari Hospital was. So there was no way of walking without it taking so long. I'm talking months, if not longer, to walk there. So there was no way to walk. So the only way you could get there would be by boat. So, because Mary Seacole's was so close to the British Hotel, it meant that Mary was able to give lots of help to those that weren't able to be shipped across to the Scutari Hospital. The Florence Hospital, or the Scutari Hospital, this meant that Florence was able to help the men recover from a safe distance away from war, but you could only get to the Scutari Hospital if you were very unwell. You weren't able to go there if you had just fancied a break from war. You had to be quite seriously injured to get there. But Mary's Hotel was also a place where the soldiers could stop off, they could get some food, they could get some warmth, because it was very cold. You can remember, this war has gone on for 4 years, or three and a half long years. The soldiers have not got anywhere to stay sometimes during the night, so they have to sleep outside, and it's very cold, and you're wearing wet things, you can get even colder. So Mary was offering a place for them to get warm. They would make a fire, and you could dry off, you could get some food, you could even have a rest, and then you could go back to battle when you were ready. So we're looking at the two here. We're thinking about how they're both offering help to soldiers, but they're also offering some very, very different scenarios for the nurses that were working there. If you were working in the Scutari Hospital, let's say, this one, you would be very far away from battle, but you'd be helping a lot of people that were seriously injured, and you would be helping with a lot of nurses around you, so you've got lots of company to help you if you're stuck. If you're working in the British Hotel, you've got Mary and maybe a few other nurses, but not a lot. You've then got not as much space as Florence Nightingale had in her Scutari Hospital. It was quite a lot smaller. But then you had some good food that you were able to make yourself there, and you would be helping a lot more of the soldiers that weren't seriously injured, but that just needed a rest from war. So they're very different. Now, although we've not spoken a lot about this today, we've got a lot of the information already, and this is all about your opinion. So your task today, you're going to imagine it's 1855. You're a nurse. You've just been told, we need you to go to the Crimea. We've got our soldiers that are really stuck over there, and we need your help. Now, we've got two options for you. You can either go to Florence Nightingale's Scutari Hospital, or you can go to Mary Seacole's British Hotel. Which one would you rather go to? I need you to decide, and I need you to tell me, would you go to Florence Nightingale's, or would you go to Mary Seacole's? Write me 2 full sentences about which one you would go to. So if you would go to Mary Seacole's, write me 2 full sentences about why you chose to go to Mary Seacole's. And then write 1 extra sentence about why you would not want to go to Florence Nightingale's. Now make sure your sentences are sensible. I'm thinking about you exploring the ideas of, maybe my example might be, I would rather go to Mary Seacole's British Hotel because she was a lot closer to the battle and therefore was able to help people more. That might be your idea. You might say, I would want to work for Florence Nightingale because she was a lot further away from the war, and therefore I think I'd be safer. Yeah, that's absolutely fine, whatever you think. So there's a lot of different reasons, and over these lessons, we've looked at all the different reasons of what makes the Scutari Hospital very good and what makes the British Hotel very good. You might say, just because Mary Seacole was offering some just warmth and food, even for those that didn't need it, that might be something that you would want to work for. You'd want to work for Mary Seacole because she was such a kind woman. Or you might say, because Mary Seacole was helping both sides, she would be the one that you would want to work for. It's entirely up to you, but I need you to explain your answer fully. Once you've done that, make sure you've written it down in full sentences. Remember our writing toolkit. We've done a lot of work on that at school, and it's not something that we need to forget. So it's our capital letters and our full stops. If you're writing 2 things, you could easily put a conjunction in to extend your sentence. I need you to then upload that to Tapestry, and I can mark it and add it to your profile. Thank you very much for coming along to this lesson. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Goodbye.